Year of the Mecha has brought us plenty of games that all share similar influences from Ryosuke Takahashi's anime classics in the 1980s. But now he got us a game that is actually, fucking based on one of those. And it's like one of my absolute favorite anime series of all time. It's Armored Trooper VOTOMS.
Dogs.
Yeah. Millennium Cyborg's here for this one. Based on what you told me, during the pre-stream, you had seen the first arc of the original series.
That's right. I can't remember exactly what happened, but I think I had like a dodgy copy and only the first arc was working or something at the time.
Makes sense.
But I remember enjoying it, yeah.
Yeah, this, to let it be known, exactly, when I say I'm a big fan of VOTOMS, how big a fan are we talking? I've watched the entire series and pretty much every OVA series that has to do with the main character, plus Armor Hunter Mellow Link.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I think I might have seen Armor Hunter Mellow Link.
Yeah. Anyway, get ready for the most soulless-looking recreation of the anime's original opening with 3D models. Yeah, this, Ukes somehow thought this was a good idea. Yeah, that's another thing in another example of unlikely developers for a mecha game. The people would make the wrestling games, like the WWE games, the ones that got especially shitty as years went on. They made this.
Everything is wrestling.
Yeah, the Gunbuster 3D opening had more motion. That is true. The funny thing is, there's a few Japanese wikis I have bookmarked, which have a good amount of info that I've relied on when GameFAQs has failed me. And there's an FAQ section on the one for this game, and it's it's a rough translation, but what I could gather is why is Kiriko's face in the OP so fucking weird? And then the answer was, you get used to it.
I think it's still quite a good opening because it reminds me of the better anime opening.
Yeah.
And the music's still there.
Yeah, it's weirdly commendable how they frame and move everything to try and match up exactly with how it was in the original animation for the opening, but that also highlights the bigger problem of that visual only really works because those were 2D elements, They were moving around different layers of an animation cell to get the effects that they did.
The PS2 opening of the first Saint Seiya game does the same thing. It does a 3D recreation of the whole anime opening, but it works a lot better somehow, in my opinion. The characters are stylized in a way that works better. It's still weird CG, but yeah. I still like it.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, this was the mid-2000s. This was a late PS2 game. Yeah, that's from the same time when Bamco thought it was a good idea to do a Tales game with realistic CG cutscenes. That sounds like a bad idea. But anyway, Armored Trooper VOTOMS. This is kind of what I remark as the one good VOTOMS game, which unfortunately means it's also the last VOTOMS game because they never made a single dedicated one like this since this game, which came out in 2007. We were already a year into the PS3 and the Wii being out, obviously. Oh wait, I forgot. Remember, Japanese game, gotta hit circle instead of X. Yeah, pretty much. From Z2, I believe it was, Z2 onward, was when, VOTOMS just started getting heavy representation. And that's honestly where I first heard about this series even existing and sought it out. And that was absolutely worth it. Like, this anime is a classic. The game doesn't cover every single episode in, like, as much detail as that does, but, I mean, it covers the highlights. So, everything... There's, like, a lot of missions to play in this game. All of them are divided up into, That's a weird Sakura Tyson mecha. Yeah, like the Kobu in Sakura Tyson, very reminiscent of that. But a lot of mecha video game franchises out there kind of owe their existence to VOTOMS, which makes it all the weirder that, like, it took this long for VOTOMS itself to get, like, a very competent game. But to give an idea of what all this game has as far as, like, locations and where missions are set up, you got, like, the first 4 arcs of the anime, which is the first arc is Wudo. It's like a kind of dense, cyberpunkish looking city, very dystopian. And then Kumen, which is what if we just did the Vietnam War but with giant robots. It's actually one of my more favorite arcs of the entire show. Actually, I think it might actually be my favorite of the 4. Oddly, like there's a lot of, like, good characters that get introduced and some pretty good action. Then there's Sansa, which is this only covers the latter half of Sansa because this game unfortunately does not have space battles. And the first half of the Sansa arc basically takes place, like, in space en route to this planet. And then Quent is the final arc where, like, everything kind of comes together in the original show. And then following that are extra scenarios based on the various OVAs that came after it, such as the Roots of Ambition. It's called, well, the English calls it, like, the Unknown Red Shoulder, but, like, the actual OVA is called The Last Red Shoulder. Like, you can see the katakana there.
Yeah.
Like, that's what it is. And then this is the Big Battle OVA, otherwise the Battle of the Heterogeneous Species. It's a very... That's a mouthful. Then, the Defrost, which is the Shining Heresy, which is a really good OVA from, like, from the 90s. And then this is the Paleson Files, which at the time of this game's release, this is when this series was actually airing. So it doesn't cover the entire scenario. In fact, it only covers, like, the first, like, the major battle from the first episode. And then there's the Blue Knight Berserker, which isn't even from, like, an OVA or anything. Like, I think it was just, like, a manga originally that has gotten, like, various adaptations and expansions in, like, previous video games. But again, those weren't as good to play as this one is. So let's just go straight into the first mission, which we can choose to do the tutorial if we want, but I already know how to play. I like the touch of the loading screens that show the mission title. That's basically the same screen you'd see that shows the title of the episode.
Yeah.
両陣営が疲弊の極みに達した大戦の末期、俺は内容も知らされぬ作戦に参加した。それは味方が味方の基地を襲うといった謎めいたものだった。俺の運命を狂わせたあの忌々しい戦争はその日終結した。だがそれは何の意味もない。あれを見た時から
And the heavy bloom.
That heavy fake-ass bloom that they figured out on the PS2 way late in its life. So this is our hero, Kiriko Kyuvi, former Red Shoulder, and survivor extraordinaire. The survivor bit is important, which I don't know how much I want to get into that, considering you didn't watch through to the end of the original series?
I guess I leave it up to you, really.
Yeah, because that's the thing. Like, I'm generally, like, not that, I don't really give that much of a shit a lot of the times on when it comes to spoilers, especially for like these sort of old things. Like sometimes you gotta give people like a hook of some sort to get them to want to check out something that may not be contemporary. But I genuinely do feel like I love this show so much that like I kind of want people to go in without feeling like they need to like be told about major events and like even end scenario stuff, due to the fact that, you know, this series is about over 40 years old now, actually. Like started airing in 82.
It's like a bit like Perfect Dark, especially when you're in first person.
Yeah, unfortunately you can't move the crosshair around the entire screen. But, like, the way, yeah, the thing that is neat about this, and at least true to the spirit of VOTOMS overall, is that we will get into that Armored Trooper very soon, but you are allowed to move freely around the ground, like, as Kiriko outside of the cockpit. It's very jank in a bit of a way, because as you see, even though I'm moving with the analog stick, he clearly has 8-directional movement, because you can also move with the D-pad. For some reason. But at least if you do use the analog stick, you get the option of you know, like walk and run speeds. You got a dodge roll. You can press a button to crouch, and you got like melee attacks that change depending on whether you just tap the button or hold it. So this is the tap version, just the whack with the pistol. Shoulder tackle if you hold it. And there are versions based on if you're crouching. A little kick, and then a slide. There's also an extra one that you can do, but that's only if you are behind an enemy without them noticing and you're standing. You can probably guess what that might be. Yeah. But, oh yeah, and also when it comes to shooting, especially with the default controls I have, square is shoot. Even though, like, I'm controlling this kind of like a traditional third-person shooter that is like, but in most cases you're not really gonna be playing this game like a traditional third-person shooter where the need to move, turn, and shoot all at the same time is necessary. I mean, it has very strong auto aim anyway, so that's not important. What is important is when you actually get into the ATs proper. All the sound effects and animations are on point. And because this is VOTOMS, we got roller dashes.
Yes, that is just so cool.
Yeah. And you can turn them on and off, which does have, you know, kind of in the tradition of how a lot of good mecha games are. I generally find that, you know, whether it's like Virtual On, Armored Core, Another Century's episode, stuff like this, you usually have two types of core movement modes, as it were, that you have to balance their pros and cons in order to like be able to be effective in battle. You know, it's like basically boost and non-boost movement. And yeah, and yeah, look, when you go into the first person mode, when you're in an AT, you actually get like a second zoom mode as well, which makes it a bit more practical for sniping. But when doing this boost dash, like as you can see, like look how it takes a while after I turn the camera for the scope dog to kind of like reorient itself proper. But if I were doing a non-boosted movement, you know, it actually will like turn to face that much more quickly. So that's something to kind of keep in mind, because you could totally just boost dash behind this, but like the animation of trying to shoot at someone that's behind you naturally means you're going to have a lot less accuracy. And yeah, it's lock-on based as far as the combat goes, which is like for the better. Like a lot of like the earlier kind of like the very few 3D games that there were for VOTOMS were extremely clunky in their implementation, because they tried to do too much in terms of like giving you the feeling that you were in full control of of controlling an AT because of like all the roller dashes, like the way like movement works. The fact that you have like like turnpikes essentially that kind of like drive into the ground like around like the ankles of your feet, and that's how you know, like in the anime you can see ATs do that sort of thing where like they'll, you know, stick a spike on like one of their legs into the ground while the roller dashes are activated, and that basically allows them to do a quick turn. It's kind of a shame that you can't do that in here, but I also understand why that wouldn't be in this game, just for the trying to provide the ease of simplicity after previous failed attempts of not being able to do it well.
I love the Squib Dog's animation when rolling around side to side. It's like figure skating.
Yeah, definitely. It's biggest triumph with this game, if anything, is the animation work in order to really highlight just how cool it is when an AT is moving around at high speeds. Anyway, here is what I was talking about. Switch over to unarmed. Yep.
Bit of Metal Gear Solid in there.
Yeah. Kiriko is not afraid to murder anyone that is going to try and take his life, which is pretty much everyone. Like, he is oh god, it's funny. Like, if you look at how many people he actually kills over the course of the entire, like, show, his kill count is like, very comparable to Arnold Schwarzenegger's kill count across his entire filmography. And that's just with a single character. And here's, here are the mission discs. Yeah, that pile bunker arm punch, like fucking piston operated, is so good. Ah, damn it. It's so hard to get a, There it is.
Nice.
Look at that. I even broke his arm.
Wow.
Anyway, I'm trying to... There we go. Just picked up his ammo. Used it for my own. Yeah, with yeah, there's all kinds of other extra systems that go on with this particular game. Like, you have actual limb damage. If you deal enough hits that land on like their arms, they'll totally break off. And if you damage their legs enough, it'll actually make it impossible for them to like do an evasive dash.
It's pretty hard to aim for the limbs, especially up close.
Yeah. Hold on. Turning the volume down just a little bit, because I think like the gunfire is definitely a bit overpowering.
The blue.
Yeah. But yeah, besides the you know, the locational damage, obviously we got things like the mission discs, which like in universe were basically like, wait, what? Why am I not? Oh god damn, I'm not hearing any audio again.
I'm not
Fuck.
hearing it either.
Shit. Hold on. Sorry, technical difficulty. Oh, fucking hell. I'm trying to remember how exactly I solved this before.
Yeah, I was surprised to PS2.
Yeah. And then Discord decided to just quick disconnect us for whatever reason. Okay, but whatever. I think we got it back. Oh, wait, no, hold on. The I gotta re-add the... There it is. Scuff. It's a pain. Yeah, I have no idea why my Discord just likes to randomly disconnect that way. But as I was describing the mission discs in universe, it's like basically imagine like an MO disc that an AT pilot can program with like battle data to make their unit perform very advanced maneuvers that would otherwise be very difficult to do with the default controls. In game terms, that means, hey, you got super abilities. And honestly, it works. Like, there's a lot of fucking mission discs. Like, I mentioned before that there's, like, a lot of playable units in this that, like, cover the gambit of, like, kind of what's been featured in the series from like, the original up through Pales and Files. But, like, the options you have for mission discs are pretty vast.
This is one of the most unreadable fonts I've ever seen.
Yeah, it's like I guess it's just because this is however many millennia into the future, like not even centuries, millennia, in a completely distant galaxy that has nothing to do with our own. The hell is this real doll?
Oh yeah.
But
just
yeah,
it look like this.
Yeah, well, so I guess to quickly get back to the story and briefly describe what the hell's going on. The whole deal with Kiriko as the series starts is that following a ceasefire after a 100-year-long war between two galactic empires, Kiriko is basically kind of like brought on to do like a quick dirty job where they have to kind of like loot this station or whatever of like confidential kind of equipment or whatever. He goes into a place that he's not supposed to and ends up finding that woman in that tube who is like a very important person of interest, and this causes him to then get like basically detained by the military police. They torture and interrogate him, trying to figure out, you know, what he saw and where it went because it disappeared. And then from then on, he just goes on his whirlwind tour of destruction and survival and ends up in the city of Wudo. And it's through there where he ends up meeting some very important characters who are... Oh yeah, this is a nice thing with like another loading screen tidbit, whereas you're about to go into a mission, it'll give you an idea of like other playable units in this game. And, you know, if you want to sit down and translate this, you can totally read what all of these specs are referring to. But yeah, that is a beefed out fucking scope dog, to say the least. But during his time at Wudo, Kiriko ends up meeting 3 people who are recurring characters throughout the entire series that I feel like they exist basically to serve as his anchor to like his humanity, as it were. Gotho, which is that old man with the pipe. The girl you saw on the results screen with like the short pink hair is Kokona. And then there's a third one who's like darker skin, has a blonde afro, and is named Vanilla. And like Gotho and Vanilla are basically like the way they meet Kiriko, the idea is they're like, oh, this guy's a really good AT pilot. He could probably make us some big money in the battling arena. While Kokona just sees him and is like, she's got the hots for him. But they end up still just like following and like helping him out over time and seeing him as a friend because they kind of realize, fuck, this dude's gone through a lot. And I also appreciate getting like the still images, still frames from the episodes in question.
Yeah.
So let's select a different AT. Fortunately, I got a whole lot to work with because the way this game works with its units is that you have to purchase them and then basically have them all in reserve. Because on some missions, you could end up in a situation where a unit that you have gets destroyed, but if you have another in reserve, you could basically call in for a new one to spawn in. But you gotta make sure that you can survive on foot as Kiriko, otherwise, yeah. You know, anyway, we'll go with this one right here. I generally kind of keep this in the middle because like, the kanji at like this low of a resolution is so small, I can't tell exactly what all these stats are referring to. But we'll just keep this one as is, and check out our mission desk options. You know, so basically with mission discs, they can only have up to 3 sort of like abilities like at a time. Some of these have like some overlap. Yeah, like the one that's assigned to X is always like the same. So I can't remember exactly which ones, because there's some mission discs where like their abilities are based on very specific contexts, including if you get knocked down, and you get a free counter if you remember that you have that mission disc ability and just pull it off right there. So I'm going to just stick with mission disc C. The frustrating thing is that the with the names of like the abilities on the mission discs, you can't really, all you really have to go off of in those menus is the katakana, but when you're in gameplay, they just display it in English. Okay, no particular order. Critical, hand combat, armor, movement, and 2 more I don't remember. Okay, like on the hexagon of stats. Got it. Battling. Also, because I'm running this off of my PS2's hard drive, it's like that loading screen went by faster than like the little like episode title jingle was able to finish. But yeah, a robot fighting arena. Tell me where you've seen this before in another mecha game.
Vaguely familiar.
Yeah, I mean it's a familiar concept, again, to show how like this has such like widespread influence on a lot of mecha games. Anyway, let's see. Yeah, slide shot. That's a fun little. That one doesn't have an animation, kind of like the kick, but the idea is that it combines like an evade with gunfire. Ah, damn it. But also with like some of the other ones that require a cutscene, you have to activate it and then make sure that you do not get hit during the warm up. Yeah, like so. And let's try AP burst. They were so proud of these animations. Whip out my dual sticks. Oh god. Oh god, could you imagine if like if this game was, if you could just find a workaround to make this game playable with the virtual on twin sticks? Although that actually does remind me, like I just remembered that there was it was not an officially released game. It was like a VR arcade attraction in Japan, but there's actually like a VR VOTOMS battling game, like I think it was like Odaiba or whatever it was, like that kind of like amusement center in Japan, where the idea was, and they actually had like a twin stick controller with pedals, because surprise surprise, that's what the inside of the cockpit for an AT is like.
Nice.
Yeah, like that's obviously one thing that this game obviously will not be able to get across as well, is that you don't really get to see a lot of like if any of the shots of what it's like inside the cockpit, because the show does a really good job of not explaining how all the mechanisms work, but instead showing the pilot do something in the cockpit and demonstrate that it has a direct correlation with like a maneuver that the AT is doing. You know, so like if they do like a specific sequence with the pedals, you know that's how they're doing like some kind of quick evasive maneuver. I'm trying to remember. There's at least like one more specifically I want to show off from the Wudo arc before we go on to the others. Oh no, I don't think this is the one actually. We're gonna go back because that's how you get fans copying the movements in their spare time. That's true, yeah. I think because like the orange tile ones, those are main story missions. The green ones are like extra side missions. Oh no, that's after. I forgot. So it's all the way to the left. It has to do with a part of Kiriko's past, and like a fun demonstration of like an AT that is just decked out with all kinds of weapons. So like basically kind of throughout the Wudo arc, like Kiriko discovers that the woman that he had found in like that pod is out there. She's like currently being like kind of like trained and like given like kind of mental programming because she's like an artificial person by like kind of like a religious looking figure, and he wants to get her out of there. So yeah, Gotho, Vanilla, Coconut, they all get in on this, and in order to kind of break into where she's at, Vanilla has the bright idea of taking a scope dog, decking it out with weapons, and painting one of its shoulders red, in reference to the red shoulders, because he, in his eyes, he's like, damn Kiriko, you're an ace pilot, you'd probably be as good as one of the red shoulders. And then Kiriko decides to go just full-on, like, military nerd on him by just criticizing design by going that actually the color of the red shoulder is a much darker shade, much closer to blood. And also the other detail that you got wrong is that it's on the right, not the left. But he still uses it anyway. Hence why this unit in particular is called the Red Shoulder Custom. It's a little custom fan version, as opposed to the real deal.
In mission music theme for this
yeah
section.
Yep, like as you'd expect, all music directly from the anime. And we got a lot of weapons to pick from. Like we obviously got like our handheld Gatling gun.
Oh yeah.
And we got like an arm mounted, I don't even know exactly like what that's supposed to be. I guess it's like kind of like a mini grenade launcher that's like mounted to the arm. Then you got side-mounted rocket launcher that's like on the right underside. Then you have a left underside mounted Gatling gun, and finally a big shoulder mounted missile launcher. Like, Kiriko is ready for war. Anyway. And as you would expect, obviously, depending on the type of weapon, as we had kind of discussed with how movement with an AT works when in roller dashing, that obviously will have a huge impact on the effectiveness of, say, like your underside mounted weapons where they can only fire in forward facing directions.
I feel like roller dashing backwards over someone to kill them is just such a way to flex on them. Like,
Yeah. I just want to say that that turret at the top of this ramp, I'm pretty sure that, yeah, like Haseo caught it as well. There was friendly fire. It actually shot at the, like the foot soldier. One. There we go. But yeah, it's a fun unit to play as, but because of just all the weapons it has on there, there is kind of like a sort of like a weight penalty on it, so it's not as fast or evasive as it otherwise could be. Unsurprisingly, when you do get up real close with like the side-mounted Gatling gun, accuracy no longer matters because point blank, all of those bullets are going to be hitting it. Alright.
So you can break through these walls, but the market stalls, or whatever those are fairly indestructible.
Apparently not. That would kind of explain why this happens. Immersion broken.
They should just make the whole base out of those.
Jesus. They'd be unstoppable. No civilian casualties in this game. Yeah, thank God. Like, even in the anime, like the game, like it makes it very clear that like if Kiriko kills someone, it is always going to be someone that is trying to kill him first. Anyway, here is full shot. Ah, damn it, I missed. But the idea is that you just like fire off all of your weapons at once. But it's very dependent on like your facing direction, naturally.
Like you've got more firepower than all the enemies on the level combined.
Yeah, it's great. Alright, Vulcan Selector. Just full auto. Ah, damn.
Very rude to get back up after that.
Yeah. Alright. Let's just do this. Like, and as you would expect, when you don't have rollers on, it is very easy to line up the full shot because your facing direction is a lot easier to control. But let's,
So what's the interface that's coming up with square, circle, and X? Are you having to aim before you can do the move?
So I didn't quite hear that, unfortunately. What was that again?
Oh, sorry. The UI that comes up with square and circle and X.
Yes, that is the mission discs, like options when you hold L2. Anyway, I'm actually gonna see if I can, because I think I remember. Oh, damn it! I blew him up. Whoop! I wanted him to try and knock me down because I think if I remember, reshot is actually like, I think that's the when you're downed, like counter move that you could pull off. Actually, it's either that or you have to knock him down first. I forget exactly, but yeah, like the whole mission discs system in this is so robust as far as like abilities and the fact that they aren't all operated on from like the same sort of context. Like I feel like it would have been like a very boring system if it was always just it always produced like the same sort of like and admittedly like detailed like animated in-game cutscene where you do a special attack. But having extra situations where it's like not a cutscene or stuff where you have to do it from like a down state or do it on a or stuff where you can only do it on an enemy if they are knocked over on the ground. Alright, let's... Okay, no, so it's not when they're down. There it is. That's what I was wanting. Check it out. This is why Kiriko is so powerful. His sidearm is like... It is an armor-piercing magnum that looks like it could be a sawed-off shotgun and probably has the power of one to boot.
It's amazing.
Yeah, like, no wonder he is a survivor. Ah, well, that was a full shot wasted, unfortunately. Yeah, like, it's cool when you're able to land it, but it's, you know, as you would expect, very difficult to land consistently. How is he still surviving? There we go. But yeah, you see what I mean with those mission discs. It's such like... I love that that's how they were able to find, like, that solution to the problem. Because I imagine, like, it would have been something that would otherwise be omitted. Or they would try too hard to, like, get you into the mindset of being like, oh, you actually have to program your mission disc with certain maneuvers. And it probably would have bogged down the game a lot if you were spending more time on that than the actual playing, you know?
Mm.
So yeah, the woman in question is referred to by, like, her kind of masters as Proto 1 due to being, like, an artificial human. But by the end of the Kumen arc, not Kumen, the Wudo arc, he gives her a name, which comes, like, not even from so much as him trying to think of one. He just blurts it out kind of like on reaction when he thinks that she's about to die, and just shouts out the name Fianna. So that is her name. That is the recurring female character of this game, who's like of the series, who is Kiriko's actual love interest. Kind of the thing that's supposed to be another thing that gets him to kind of search for his humanity, considering how long he has just been a soldier, and now he's in a world where, like, the main war he was fighting in is already over. Like, think of how completely opposite that is compared to, say, Gundam, where, you know, the original Mobile Suit Gundam was all focused around a 1-year war. Here we have a universe in which a 100-year war happens, and like, it gets resolved before the series starts, and it's the feeling of like, well, shit, what do I do now? It's just too bad Kiriko ends up having to get involved in a massive, like, galactic conspiracy that has to do with, like, this woman and eventually himself. Full Metal Gear. Oh, that'd be a crossover, wouldn't it? So yeah, when you get to the Kumen arc, there's like basically kind of like a guerrilla army that's fighting against the much bigger, like, planetary army, and Kiriko, in order to just keep moving around and, like, survive and just do what he does best, he, like, takes part in the operations taking place there, but also finds that, you know, his old friends from Wudo are there as well, so they decide to set up a club where, like, all the soldiers can just relax after a while. This is also the arc where like, kind of Kiriko's allies expand quite a bit, because he makes, like, a few comrades with people that he fights alongside with during this time frame. Including a big dude that I believe is called Shako, yeah, he is a big man. He is like just taller than all the other dudes, because he is a humanoid from, like, the planet Quent. He's a Quentian, and because there's, like, a lot of marshy areas here in Kumen, it being a jungle. This is where you get access to different ATs besides the Scope Dog variants.
I like the blue one with the funny head.
Yeah. Also, I do want to point out as well, just to kind of highlight the thought that was put into these ATs and kind of like what their role is in the world they occupy. Look at the rollers. Look at the rollers on like this googly eye dom looking thing, as Hasio calls it. And notice how instead of it being like a wheel that is oriented like it normally would, it's like flipped horizontal. Because like a regular wheel probably wouldn't cut it if you were in a situation where you needed to cut through like mud or heavy marsh water or something like that. Yeah, it's just like all kinds of like little details that you pay attention to, and the fact that they don't sit you down with like just a big expository lecture about how this is supposed to work based on like some bullshit like theoretical physics. And instead it's just like, nah, like everyone in this universe fully buys into the idea that these are the new war machines. Like, these are the new faces of war. Like, why? Oh, like, you just accept that they work as is and that the engineers behind them have already figured out and perfected this this method of design, that you don't need to question it the same way that you don't question why a car works.
Yeah.
That said, though, these are mass-produced to a point that a lot of these end up going down. God damn it, Discord, you fucking asshole. Discord disconnecting again. But yeah, as I was saying, unfortunately, because these are mass-produced heavily, they go down about as fast, if not faster, than like a squad of Zaku's. Probably not as bad as Leo's though from Gundam Wing. If I'm gonna be honest, I feel like they can at least stand up to more than just a light sneeze. Oh, and this guy's an asshole. Like the commander that Kiriko and his buddies have to put up with is like a very arrogant, like, glory hound who just like kind of wants all the credit for like the success of this operation, and ends up coming into conflict with Kiriko quite a number of times over certain things, especially when Kiriko finds out that Fianna has been moved here by her captors, and that kind of comes into conflict with like, you know, what are they going to do once they find her. Yeah, Kanyu is his name. He's a prick.
I think I must have seen the Rudo arc when it's at the end of the Rudo arc. I stopped. Yeah, I think I saw this arc, the Rudo arc, in the anime as well.
Yeah. Yeah, I still love the hilariousness of the fact that they just made like a setting for a mecha anime that just makes you think Vietnam War.
Yeah, yeah.
and you think it would be like, surely that's just coincidental. I mean, it's a jungle. You say that, but like the first major battle in Pales and Files, which came out in 2007, is basically D-Day with Mecha. Except no one makes it up the beachhead. So it goes even worse.
The anime designs really suit the low poly sort of game models.
Yeah. Yeah, as you can see with our blue AT right here, the only weapons we got, you know, like the automatic Gatling gun is still one of those like very low accuracy type of weapons that's only good for close range, while you have like the long range missile launcher, rocket launcher, whatever, that you gotta deal for much bigger ranges. Does a good job of taking care of these helicopters though.
Like in real life, you'd really have to work to make a gun that spreads its shots that wide.
Yeah. Ah, damn it, I'm waiting for the reloads. There it is. Also, another AT. Might as well. They'll definitely give you opportunities to get out and switch over to like another unit if you so desire. Yeah, S-Turtle. Still like the same armaments, all things considered. You know, rocket launcher and short-range Gatling gun. Look at that kick!
Nice.
Alright, and then... Oh yeah, G-Dash. I feel like that's supposed to be dash. I'm not sure why it's like that, but... Yeah, but it's just the tackle. Anyway. Yeah. So that's basically kind of what you got for mission disc options on this one starting out. And Crash is supposed to be Crush. Possibly. You know, English is not like the main focus of this game as you would expect. Oh, that punch. Alright, let's just... Yeah, just get another one out.
I like that your little the wheels on your feet were spinning as well during the animation.
Yeah. Oh hey, it's the one that we were like starting this mission with. So this is actually, oh geez, right. For like some of these boss encounters, they actually do they do have their own mission discs. So you got to make sure you can interrupt them before they can get theirs off, and I did a pretty bad job of doing it. So at this point, like the other thing about Fiona that stands out is that like she is a PS. That's technically like what she is as an artificial human, short for perfect soldier.
A new type.
Yeah, yeah, but like you know, like artificially created and not, yeah, like a cyber new type, something like that. But the thing with that one is, you know, because of a PS's reflexes and combat prowess being so much better than a regular human, he thinks that's Fiona, but it's another perfect soldier known as Epsilon, or Ypsilon, I guess, just with how like it's pronounced or whatever. And he gets a real chip on his shoulder over Kiriko, because he's like, I'm a perfect soldier. Same for Proto 1. Naturally, like, we're meant for each other. But she's like, no, I love Kiriko. And he's like, that bastard! And then, like, just for the rest of the arc, it's like, you know, just continuing to fight until Kiriko finds Fiona again, gets her out of there, and they get onto a shuttle that escapes the planet. Which cuts to the Sansa arc. Unfortunately, the space battle stuff doesn't actually exist in this, nor the episodes where Kiriko is drinking himself into a stupor because he's getting hit by PTSD from his time as a Red Shoulder. Because the Red Shoulders in universe are otherwise referred to by people as the Bloodsucker Battalion, because they are the soldiers that are good at what they do, even war crimes. And on Sansa, there's like a woman who discovers his origin, and because she lost her family from like an attack by the Red Shoulders, she just like becomes like she just wants revenge on him immediately. And this leads to one of the actual interesting missions as far as how it starts. I'm gonna like skip through like the dialogue to keep going. But yeah, we actually start out on foot, and we have to survive this woman trying to run us over. Could it be the paint job Vanilla did? No way. Well, no, it's like, well, no, like it's because it's at this part in the story where like, you know, like Vanilla did not actually realize Kiriko was a Red Shoulder. He just saw how good he was at piloting an AT that he assumed that he was on par with them. He didn't realize that this dude was actually in the Bloodsucker Battalion and did some shit, which he feels some amount of guilt over.
Wow, that's some shoulder barge.
Yeah. So the thing with this is, you gotta look for something that is hidden in any of these containers. That's how you get Red Shoulders from all the shoulder barging. But this is the sort of thing where I say, like, this is an interesting mission. Not necessarily a great one, but because the idea feels a lot like they knew that this game was going to be focused on Kiriko's exploits first and foremost, so, like, there was no real way for them to fit in a scenario where you play out, like, some highlights from Armored Hunter Mellowlink. This at least feels like it's them trying to get at that, where you have to deal with the threat of you are on foot, you are not in an AT, but they are, so what do you do? And yeah, that's basically what you have to use your super OP Magnum shotgun for, which is to essentially stun it for a brief while until you can find where the hell, like, the switch is in this, Oh yeah, and also, like, a little capsule, because there's no oxygen on this planet.
I see a lot more boxes on the radar.
Yeah. It's the sort of thing where I do feel like, again, like, this would have been, like, a more effective kind of approach to the concept if it wasn't just a box hunt. But I think, like, and honestly, the frustrating part is that I do believe that what you're looking for in these boxes is randomized.
Oh.
You know?
I was expecting something very different when you described the mission. I was expecting having to dodge the giant robot.
Yeah. Well, you kind of have to, like, when it gets close, but obviously with the Magnum on hand, you can kind of deal with it. Like, you can't kill it, but you can at least keep it from running you over, because it will otherwise deal a lot of damage. Come on, at least just give me the fucking thing I need from one of these crates. If not, I'll probably switch over to the mission after this, because it's more of a proper battle. Yeah, we'll just skip it. But that's kind of like what they try and do as far as like giving you a mission where you have to start out on like on foot and really have that as your only option.
Good concept, not sure about the execution.
Yeah. Like, it would have been great to have, like, more stuff that actually involved the on-foot stuff in a meaningful way that wasn't that. If anything, the tutorial mission actually kind of accomplishes that better. let's switch over to... Oh yeah, here's an interesting one. Like, this is the, this is the, version of the scope dog. Like, you see, like, those sort of, like, protrusions from its back. Those are actually the maneuvering jets for allowing it to easily navigate in zero-G environments. Which still feels weird to have on this, considering there are no space missions. So, yeah, what can you do?
Did they do anything on planet?
Not really. No, because I think it's like the jets themselves aren't really meant to like act as their own like propulsion device on ground, because the roller dash is so potent as is. Like, that's kind of the whole reason to like not to only use those jets when you're in space. But here we're gonna have like a fight with Epsilon and just kind of settle that grudge, because he does die at the end of this. It's pretty gruesome. Like, you see, like, the actual animation is like he takes so many bullets that like puncture through the hull and just like pepper him. But it's also during this time where, because of how well Kiriko has managed to survive up to this point, like, there's definitely the, how the hell did it not knock him over? Shit. I thought I... Fuck. Come on, just let me...
You've got some weird smug-looking twins on the comms.
Yep. There we go. I managed to finally, like, interrupt his mission disc. I probably could have used, like, a more powerful unit from, like, later in the game, but I just felt like, at least try to keep it, correct for the period. Oh my god. Oh yeah, now my legs are just fucked.
That's where the backpack comes in. You got no legs. Just fly around.
Unfortunately, I don't think those jets are really powerful enough to work within the confines of like a planet's gravitational pull. Whoops. I gotta get out. Now the question is, will I be able to summon in another from here? Yep. Yeah, I can. So that's why you try and save up multiples of the same units instead of just one. But yeah, like the big revelation that's essentially going on during this fight with how Kiriko is able to keep up with Epsilon is that he basically goes like, the only way Kiriko is able to keep up is that he's actually a perfect soldier. Even though you look at kind of like how perfect soldiers are made and look at his background and you realize that doesn't add up. That's because it's something else completely. It's just strong genes. Something like that. Oh yeah, that's right. I didn't even get to show it off. Like the B release that you saw there, balancer release. That's a counter move. You essentially assume like a parry counter stance, and from there, like if an enemy like does a melee attack on you, you just do like a special parry animation where you just knock him to the ground.
Nice.
It's very difficult to do on Epsilon because he is a really tough fight.
イプシロン、かわいそうな人。あなたを殺したのは私かもしれない。キリコ、あなただって。
It's still baffling how it's like these in-game PS2 models look less uncanny and more faithful to like how the characters actually looked than the CG opening we saw at the start.
I bet it was a different studio or something like that.
Yeah, the CG had to have been outsourced for sure. So we got through that, even though we lost the scope dog, but got another one out of it, and we still came away with an S rank. I mean, the point is we at least survived. But, let's just go straight to, Quent. You can kind of see as we're going between zones, there are starting to be less and less missions in each of the scenarios. That's kind of the other thing that kind of goes against this, where you kind of realize, you know, they made a really great, like, gameplay system that finally did VOTOMS justice in a way that's very easy to pick up and play, faithful in a lot of areas, but they were clearly running out of time, and not able to, like, do what they really would have liked to, which is cover as much of the entire series in full detail the same way they did with Wudo and Kunmen. So right now we're just gonna go straight to the mission that coincides with like the finale of the series, in which Kiriko's not a perfect soldier. He is an overman. The reason he's been able to keep up with these dudes, and more importantly, be able to survive near, like, impossible scenarios where most other people would die, is that he is genetically engineered to be, like, to have, like, a higher survival rate than like, his fellow humans. And, like, this was basically, like, created to be this way because, like, some crazy like, omniscient AI being called Wise Man wants him to exist as his successor. So we got a situation. Yeah, we got a situation here where essentially like the main character is kind of like a child of destiny, as it were, but because of all the shit that Kiriko goes through, he kind of doesn't want to be that. He's like the chosen Ubermensch for like for like a galactic order that he wants no part in. He doesn't want to fight anymore. That's it. So we're gonna show off like this. At least I believe this is the mission where it happens, or not. I'll actually double check if it's supposed to be going from right to left or left to right. Okay, no, yeah, this is actually the one. Yeah, because the percentage is referring to its difficulty. Because I want to show off the like this right here, where like this is the final battle where Kiriko, he trashes a lot of his ATs while still being able to survive. But this is the one part of the show which feels appropriate, with it being the finale, where he gets the highest kill count in a single AT before it is completely unusable. It is the Rabbitly dog.
I was trying to figure out how to pass that.
Yeah, even the AT wiki mentions the CG opening. Yeah, we brought that up. Just the FAQ being all like, why does it look so weird? And the only response is, you get used to it. But yeah, I eventually I felt like I had to like explain that this was the whole deal with Kiriko eventually, considering this covers the major events of the TV series. But it's also very important to know that, especially because there is a lot of extended material for this series. You know, like all kinds of OVAs that take place in the time frame before and after the show. And while you would think, you know, you probably would ask the question, does that mean it is completely viewable in like in the actual in-universe chronological order? And I would say that, like the order I actually like to watch the series in is TV anime first, because I feel that's important for establishing what the deal with Kiriko is. But then when it comes to all the OVAs after it, you can actually watch those in their chronological order, because they don't really add any other new revelations on top of who he is as a person. Like, they all play into the same knowledge that they expect you to have from watching the anime, which is Kiriko is not a normal human. Right, Eraser special. The Eraser refers to the fact that it's meant to basically erase the limb in question on that, on the particular unit. Oh yeah, and you also got mines that you can drop there, technically from the back. So you get this sort of maneuver.
Nice.
Yeah. And PS reading basically makes everything slow down as you are now operating on super heightened reflexes. And the enemies will, like, just keep spawning in, so you're kind of expected to keep going to, like, the end of the corridor, as it were.
The bloom there, it just makes it really hard to see what's going on.
Yeah, it's a bit much in spots. You know, it's also a bit much in spots, the fact that the frame rate's actually kind of dropping. Yeah, we're just gonna keep on going so we can get to the final battle. I love being able to do that when it lands just right. Yeah, 360 scope dog. Yeah, that's basically what it is. But yeah, the Rapidly dog is awesome, to say the least. But oh man, the fact that they're even still able to down me like this when I got PS reading is kind of annoying. There is also a rare thing that can happen when fighting these ATs. Is most of the time you're very likely to destroy them with, like, your overwhelming firepower. But sometimes, depending on the weapon and where you hit them, which I think is best done if you're doing, like, the manual first-person aim, you can actually disable the AT, where it's like you essentially kill the pilot inside, but the unit is intact. So you could totally just get out of your current unit and steal that one.
Nice.
It's very rare that you're able to do that, and it's incredibly situational. So this whole fight, this whole gauntlet is Kiriko leading people on into thinking that, yes, I'm going to accept Wise Man's offer and become the new ruler of the galaxy. But just to kind of get ahead of it, he's only totally doing this because he needs to get close to Wise Man's chamber so he can kill him.
Of course.
And unfortunately, that means Fiona doesn't even know, because he can't let anyone know that this is a ruse.
I like his evil face.
Yeah, it's just so gleefully into this. Oh god, oh fuck. That would straight up kill anyone, because that was a direct hit into the cockpit. Okay. He mutated into Dio. Oh god, that is what he looks like. And somehow I'm still surviving even on a magic pixel. Oh. And somehow that's still not killing me. There you go. Oh no. Oh no!
Just finish him off on foot. How hard can it be?
Let's see if I can actually land the shot. Oh, damn it. Oh, fuck. Oh! There's at least a hit. Oh, and it's over there is the thing. Oh, hey, look at that!
Nice.
You know what? That's the VOTOMS way. When even you lose your unit and you're on the ground and you got nothing but like your overpowered sidearm. Oh, oh god. Oh wait, I forgot there was a second phase. Oh shit. Bad day. Bad day. All right, let's try this again and hopefully we'll be able to catch her if she tries to pull off another mission disc maneuver. In fact, better yet, let's try and get this filled up all the way and then do the, do like the PS reading. Fight her at her own game. Look at that. Come on. I should also preface as well, I've been playing this entire game on easy difficulty. So if it looks like it's kind of like the normal difficulty, like it's giving a fair amount of challenge, yeah, this isn't even on actual normal. Did Wise Man send you a new mecha? No, that's just the game mechanic where like if you have more than one of like your assigned AT in reserve, you can have it be dropped into the match and like just into the mission, and then from there you can go in and use it. So you still have some fight in you. But also, I wouldn't be surprised if Wise Man decided to just throw it in there. And that's the mission. A 1 million credit payout. Did that warp happen in the series too? I believe it did. Yeah. Like there's weird teleportation nonsense that is designed to like try and prevent intruders to getting anywhere towards where Wise Man is. Yeah. Yeah, 3,000. Again, this series takes place several millennia in the future from where we're even at. Oh my god.
Something wearing chandelier.
Yeah. Well, I just noticed that OBS decided to fuck up and like give me an error that the recording encoder crashed, but not the stream, thankfully. But I think I'm gonna take that as a sign that I'm not gonna really be able to show any of the extra scenarios after this. Oh yeah, and like at the end of the series, Kiriko and Fiona basically decide to like go into like a cold sleep capsule with the idea of basically not being woken up until they can awaken to a world without war. Because as the series ends, another big war between the two major factions starts up again. Because of course it happens. Yeah, this is a this is a fun a solid game like in the mecha genre. You can obviously see how there's like the limitations of time and budget that Ukes basically were brushing up against. But I'm at least glad that in the tradition of like other mecha games of this type, they knew what was important and made sure not to compromise on it. Like this would have been a much worse game if they tried to like fill it with so much more content and production value if the gameplay wasn't up to par.
I feel like this is something a modern indie game inspired by this could do really well.
Yeah, which I feel like is the sort of thing where, well, that is still the other funny thing about it, is that because of how much VOTOMS has influenced like the mecha game genre, as it were, and the fact that it's been 4 decades since the original anime was introduced, like, people like us only ever really know that VOTOMS specifically exists because we're willing to go those extra layers deeper than most other people probably would that are looking at the genre at a first glance. Like, they're probably seeing things that, you know, they're not realizing specifically exist because of this series, and just kind of instead go on a, like basically just kind of fall back on a, on just assuming, oh, it's a Gundam thing or something, because Gundam is that ubiquitous of a franchise. Shitake Digital is who did the opening movie, apparently. A literal shit take! Okay, the good one. Good one, Haseo. Yeah, it's the sort of thing where, like, again, I always feel like if you're gonna be doing something that is inspired by, like, a certain thing, I feel like it really helps to understand where the original source actually came from, and to not settle on, like, the copy of the original. Because I feel that, like, in the West, there's a tabletop mecha game that, you know, not Mech Warrior, that's his own thing, but, like, it's called Heavy Gear. I actually played one of the games for it, PC game, Heavy Gear 2, earlier this year on the series. And Heavy Gear is explicitly mentioned to be inspired by VOTOMS. But it's the sort of thing where I feel like if someone were given the rights to, like, the Heavy Gear franchise or something like that, they probably wouldn't... They probably looking at that as if that was the original thing and not what actually inspired it. So, like, as you're kind of, like, getting away from the original source, that, like, there's a sort of dilution that happens in terms of, like, understanding the core concept and idea. Point is, more people need to know about Armored Trooper VOTOMS and watch it, because, especially for game developers, that would just, like, improve chances a whole lot more of getting the kind of mecha games that I want.
I'll sign that petition.
Yeah, just tell every every person, like every indie developer out there that gets it in their head that I want to make a mecha game, just like give them a manifesto that's like, okay, before you do this, you need to engage with this amount of media right now, absorb the knowledge that you gain from it, and then get back to me. But yeah, that's Armored Trooper VOTOMS. It's the last armored dedicated VOTOMS game that would ever exist, and also for this series, the last game we'll be playing on PS2. PS2 mecha games, we had a good run. For sure. Just, God, what a fucking banger. Like, the PS2 generation really is still, like, the best gen that this industry has ever had for just the sheer variety of types of games and their quality. And Mecha absolutely contributes to that. Between all the armored cores, all the weird stuff that was, like, super specialized, like Robot Alchemic Drive and Steel Battalion. Like, so many classics. But now we gotta move on to PSP and PS3 because, you know, like, there were still developers on those platforms that were trying to keep it alive, but, you know, things are gonna start dwindling in volume as the years go on, because that's just how the video game industry evolved from, like, 2007 onwards.
I love this shot. I think this works in this weird CG style.
Yeah. Yeah, I could definitely see that, especially because you don't have to see the face. Yeah, it's this was a fun one. Thanks for keeping me company, joining for the VOTOMS ride. Again, only really showing stuff from like the TV series and not the OVAs, but you know, it was still pretty in depth as I could. But we definitely need to cut the stream short before any more scuff happens. Next month in October, the next game that will be played is Gundam Battle Universe. We'll be getting into the realm of PSP mecha games and seeing how a little company known as ArtDink made a name for themselves, making some of the finest licensed mecha action games for the system. It's the sort of thing where, yeah, spooky PSP games. Yeah, the PSP is real spooky because it's like when you see like someone try and make a console game for it, you're like, why? You don't have enough controls. And somehow ArtDink managed to figure that part out. That's the real accomplishment.
God, the original PSP joypad, like joystick, disc.
A little analog nub.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a fucking thing for sure. So we'll see you for that next time. Probably still try and fit in some solo streams in the interim. Probably will not be any more Turbo Overkill because, quite frankly, I've had enough of, like, OBS crashing and giving me however many problems trying to run that game simultaneously. So, too bad you're not going to get to see episode 3. At least not until I do, like, a for-real Let's Play of it next year at some point. But you all have a good rest of the week, everyone. Take care.
Bye.
Game over.